Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 7 of our 21-day DAX challenge. Today's question is a bit powerful for sales analytics. The question we have is how many orders in 1997 were above the average sales? So, a very interesting question. We'll be using DAX to compare each order's sales to the average and we'll count how many were higher. Okay, so what are we going to do is we are going to solve by various methods. We'll be using multiple options. We want to know first thing which orders were placed in 1997, what was their individual sales amount, what was their average order value, and then how many of those orders were above average. These are the four important questions we'll solve. Okay, let's begin. So the first thing is we already have a field named as total sales. Let me show you that option here. On the right hand side, we have created a field, a calculation named as total sales. So total sales was SUMX. Okay, I'll just put a space. SUMX of order details. We have order detail discount and unit price. So multiply discount with price, we'll be getting the total sales option. Now to write this DAX function for the numbers over here, we'll just create a new measure. So the measure is going to be a little lengthy. So we want to find out orders above average for the year 1977 or 1997. Okay. So which will become here, we'll write down the function named as variable, okay, which is orders 1997. So this is going to be a table right now, a temporary table. And in that table, we are going to filter, okay, all the orders. The orders is the name of the table, okay. And for which year we are trying to filter, the year is which matches with the order date, okay. Order date equals to 1997, okay, and we'll be just closing the bracket. So this is going to create a table which is having orders of date 1997. Okay. Now the second table. Okay, we are going for the second table. Now we will be using, we'll be having a new column to each order showing how much was earned from it. Okay, just to find out the total sales. So let me put a backspace. We'll create one more table here. So it will be a var which will be named as order table. Okay, equals to. Now we are going to add a column. Okay, so what column we are going to add here? The column would be, let's say, given as orders from this 1997. Okay, so this 1997 is the column from or the table from here. In this, we are going to add a column named as sales. Now this is the name of the column, and we'll be using total sales. What is total sales? A previous measure what we calculated, which was unit unit price into quantity. Okay, unit price into quantity and close a bracket. This was creating or adding a column in this table. Okay, orders table here. Now the next one we'll be using one more variable, so which will be calculating now the average sales. See, the above line gave us the total sales, okay, for that particular table. But now if you want to calculate the average sales, we will be using average x function. Okay, and from the orders table, okay, from the orders table what we have right now created in the above one, we want to find out the sales, okay, average of that sales option over here. Then we can just close a bracket. Okay, now this one would be an average sales. Okay, what we are trying to do is we'll be calculating the average sales amount per order in 1997. So this is the function we are using for that. Okay, now since we have calculated average sales, now we want to find out a variable which will be having above average. Okay, above average orders. Let's mention it as above average orders. And here we are going to write down a function, which is, let's say, a filter function. Now remember, filter function is used to filter the tables. But which table will filter? Orders table. Okay, which one is the orders table? A table what we have created in which we filtered for 1997 and we added a sales column over there. Okay, so now we are trying to filter a table. In that table, we will filter. Okay, the condition is that the sales should be greater than the average sales. Okay, this is the condition. Okay, sales should be greater than the average sales, and this will give us the table as an output. Okay, finally what we want is we want to find out the count. Okay, after we get the average above average orders, so this will give me few rows, 10 rows, 20 rows, 30 rows, but now I want to count the rows. Okay, I want to count the rows from the newly created table, which is above average orders. So this is the process. So let me break down first for you. We first created table for 1977. In that table, the name of the table was orders 1997. In that table, we added a sales column. The name of the column was sales column. From that sales column, this was a new table, right? This is the new table. From that table, we found out the average X, okay, which is the average sales. Then we found out average, which is above average orders, okay. So therefore, we filtered that table, okay. We filtered that table, which gives us above average sales. And finally, we just counted the rows from there, okay. So when we do that, what we are going to get is how many orders, okay, the count of orders in the year 1997, which is above average sales. So when you drag and drop, this will give us the uh, count of rows. Okay, how many orders? So there were 19 orders in 1997, which were above average sales. So this gave us the number over here. If you found out the average sales, you can find out minimum sales, maximum sales. If you found out for 1997, you can find out for any year over here. You can find out for any month option over here. So this way you can get the insights. Okay, this way you can get the insights of finding values of any year, any data here. So that's all for day 7. Okay, tomorrow we'll be having a new challenge for challenge 8, which will talk about how many orders were delivered exactly on the required date. So for tomorrow's challenge, we'll understand how do we get this output in Power BI DAX.